Hello, my name is Alice Boyle. I am a writer of young adult queer fiction. I am calling in from Melbourne, Australia, which is on Wurundjeri land. And I am the winner of the 2021 Text Prize with my debut novel, which is called Dancing Barefoot. And that is coming out next year, 2022, with Text Publishing, which is very exciting. Alex?
Cool. So my name's Alex Falase-Koya. I'm a writer in London, England, and I write books for children, obviously. I am writing a book called, I have a book coming out next year, a series of books actually for early readers called Marv, which is this illustrated superhero book about a boy. Yeah, that's me as a person. So what I'm going to do, we've written letters to, I've written a letter to my future self, and Alice has written a letter to her past self. I'm going to read Alice's letter now. Dear 16-year-old Alice, we need to talk. I know you're doing your best right now. Easy having glasses, braces, frizzy hair, and a really big nose. That's a lot for one head to pull off. It wasn't easy getting 7% on your latest math test either. I think Mum's still pissed about that 16 years later, but she'll calm down eventually. The hardest thing, though, is being one of the only openly gay kids at school, especially when people all around are using gay as a synonym for shit. I know that you're starved for representation and recognition. The last book you read with a queer female protagonist featured parental rejection, social isolation, an eating disorder, and a near-fatal car crash, and it won a bunch of awards. It's either that or the L Word, where everyone's too busy cheating on each other to actually go to their jobs. Plus, you have to sneak into the study to watch it at 11:30 p.m. because Netflix doesn't exist yet. I get it. It's a desert out there. Luckily, I'm here like the angel Gabriel. Was it Gabriel? I don't remember. Wait, are we failing religious education too? To bring tidings of great joy. Things are about to get so much better. First of all, you're going to land your first girlfriend. I know, spoiler alert. Try to look surprised when it happens. You're going to find a haircut that works for you. The braces will come off, and you'll grow into your nose eventually. The best thing, though, is the wealth of queer life, community, and representation that's about to unfurl in front of you. I know it's hard to imagine, but there'll be a time not too far from now where being queer isn't just tolerated, it's celebrated. You're going to find people who see the world like you, who love like you, who are keen to explore queerness in all its messy, blazing beauty. We'll have out and proud athletes, celebrities, politicians, and so many authors. You'll go to the library and be spoilt for choice. In these books, you'll read about people who are like you, who are falling in love and finding their community. And the biggest thrill of all, nobody's going to die at the end. Keep writing, pal, because one day your book will be on that library shelf too. I'm so excited for you, because you don't yet realize how much change is coming. A tidal wave of it. You're going to belong to one of the last generations to chop cop shit for being gay. Queer people, trans people, BIPOC, disabled people, we're all going to step into the sunlight and celebrate the wonder of each other, because we really are wonderful. We're bloody fantastic. It'll be hard work, I'm not going to lie to you. There's a lot of ugliness out there, and still a lot of shit to be done. We're not finished yet, far from it. But at the end of the day, you'll have your beautiful, sprawling clan of family and friends who'll love you for your distractible, overly verbal, very gay self. See you soon. You're going to have a great time. Love, future Alice. P.S. By the way, when the orthodontist gives you your plate, keep it out of reach of your dog. Please, just trust me on this one.
No, it's great. Thanks, Alex. I'm now going to read Alex's letter, and Alex has written to his future self. Is it worth anything? I know I'm skipping the small talk and pleasantries, but I know we don't like that now, so I'm guessing 10 years into the future, we'll have even less patience for that stuff. So, once again, is it worth anything? I kind of need to know. I toil away at this, late nights, early mornings, you know the drill. The price of writing can be measured in experiences I didn't have. The person those experiences might have shaped me into is sacrificed at the altar of writing every day, And I'm okay with that. I understand that there's a cost to all this, and I'm more than willing to pay. I just need to know what I'm getting back. The sheer pleasure of writing? Sure, great. Until we introduce a deadline and a third draft where the characters still make no sense at all. Let's not fool ourselves. This still takes a lot of effort. Money? Sure. That's always nice and very useful. But if you get into writing for the money, you're probably going to be a little disappointed. Maybe you're rolling in it, but I'm not. So, what else is being offered here? I have one other thing I can think of. The idea that we can change the world. The power of books to make the world a better place, a more equal place. Now, that's enticing, isn't it? Now, I don't know if anyone gets into writing because of it. I didn't initially, but it sure can keep you going through the trials and tribulations. Keeps you warm on a cold night. I just don't know if I believe it anymore. Bombs away, am I right? You want to talk? Let's really talk. In this content-saturated world, what if all the books we write are just more content to be consumed? All the themes, life experience and representation, all the things we write to push the world in a better direction. What if all that is just consumed in an instant before someone literally closes the book on all of that equality stuff and moves on to something else? We always talk about surfacing the right voices, making sure marginalized people get a chance to speak. But how often do we work on making sure that other people are listening? And I mean really listening. This is probably a distant memory for you, now. But do you remember after the Black Lives Matter protests? Do you remember what happened? All those books about anti-racism were all suddenly at the top of the bestseller lists. But months later, nothing really felt like it had changed. Everything was still the same. If you were worried that there aren't enough racism scandals nowadays, don't worry, the book industry still has you covered. You see why I'm here now writing this. Is it worth anything? I need to know. I want to go on strike until you reply, to put down my pen, but I can't. There's a hope that keeps me going. I hope you'll write back and tell me that of course it's worth it, that I was silly for ever thinking otherwise, that my writing can be measured not in racists converted, but in courage stirred in the hearts of people who never got to see characters who look like mine and a writer who looks like me. I hope that's how I get to contribute in my own small way to the changing of this world. I hope you tell me that's enough. Maybe it is for now. And that's the end of Alex's letter. Beautiful letter.
Oh, awesome. Thank you. That was really good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
My drama school paid off. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about our respective letters. Do you mind if I start, Alex?
Yeah, go for it.
If you could receive a response letter from your younger self, what do you hope they would write back? Start small,
What I'd want, I guess, hopefully, is for my older self to tell me, to almost soothe me and to be like, to tell me everything is okay. That's the hope, right? You always want the idea of your older self to kind of, you always want kind of the older self to be somebody who can soothe and who can tell you that everything is going fine. But I think that's maybe the knee-jerk reaction, but also at the same time, I think there's something also in the idea, I think, of being responded to in a way that acknowledges the fact that actually things aren't, almost in the way that you've done, that, hey, things aren't going to be, things aren't all finished. It's not like we all fixed everything and everything's amazing. There's still loads of problems and stuff like that. But that kind of gives you kind of a little bit of hope in a way that can kind of keep you going. That's kind of what I would hope.
Yeah, it can be tempting to dream that, like, oh yeah, we will like get there one day, whatever there is, wherever there is, the dream of like, oh yeah, and there'll be world peace and full equality for everybody, and it's just, there'll be no poverty and there'll be no racism and there'll be no homophobia. And I mean, it's something to strive towards or strive for every day. But I mean, I doubt that we'll ever reach a place of like perfect harmony and all like, you know, holding hands and singing kumbaya together. Like, you know, there will always be conflict in the world, unfortunately. It's just a matter of always striving to be better, if not perfect.
Jumping off that, I think it does lead into almost a question that I have for you, which is how do you balance when you're writing to your past self? How do you balance that kind of that pragmatism and that sense that hey, maybe things may not be everything's going to be perfect, but also the optimism of like, hey, the future's actually going to be cool in a lot of ways. How did you find balancing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. It was, to be honest, it wasn't, I didn't find it super hard in one way because past me, teenage me, really felt pretty crap about the state of the world, and from a purely selfish perspective, about the state of, you know, when you're a teenager and you think like the world revolves around you and you're like, my life is the worst, it's, you know, it's over, I'm such a loser, you know. So it wasn't hard for me to inject that optimism into the letter, because honestly, if 16-year-old me, somebody had dropped a letter in my lap from me, you know, in my 30s, saying, you know, all of these things are going to change, then it would have been such a relief. But I also don't want to sugarcoat it, because I think that the place that the world is in at the moment is an incredibly turbulent. We're living through very turbulent times. You know, we've got climate change and global pandemic, not to mention all kinds of, you know, human rights abuses and things that are, you know, as you were saying, not much seems to have changed after Black Lives Matter. And we've got certainly First Nations people in Australia are really struggling with our, you know, their own sort of Black Lives Matter movement here that is, you know, largely being unfortunately ignored by a lot of people. And so I, you know, don't want to sugarcoat it and be like, yeah, it's fine, you know, come, like it's going to be the land of milk and honey, because it's, you know, it's not, but it's better. And you know, I especially see that when consuming media from even just a few years ago. I recently read a book that was published about 6 years ago, and there were some really confronting ableist slurs in there that I just pulled me right out. And I thought, whoa, like I'd like to hope that that wouldn't get published today. And so, yeah, that's how I balanced it. I mean, what about you? Because yours is has quite a different tone.
Yeah.
Your letter had quite a different tone to mine. What was your sort of process with balancing pragmatism and optimism?
I guess when I was balancing that, I kind of felt I always feel like I pretty much only thought about optimism a little bit when I was like at the end. I kind of when I wrote it, I wrote it in full pessimism mode. I don't know. That's kind of what I. It's kind of difficult because I think I have a multitude of feelings about stuff, and I think it's really easy for me sometimes to get very doomer when it comes to thinking about issues across the world. So I think it's very easy for me and almost reflex to slip into that mode of thinking, especially because that's kind of how I actually genuinely think. Um, and so sometimes reaching for optimism is a more difficult thing, but I do think it's a thing that's necessary in that not just that it allows me to talk about actual good things which are happening, which I do think there are good things. Like I do think the world is becoming a better place, and writing books is a good thing in terms of making the world a better place. I think that not only doing that, I think it provides a good contrast and allows you to actually truly deal with the bad things that happen and truly evaluate the bad things that happen is by putting them against the good things, right? It's like the darkness only
Mm.
exists because of the light, you know?
Mm.
You're able to really look at the two because you have the contrast. And so you kind of have to have some optimism.
Do you feel optimistic about the future, or do you, I mean, well, how do you feel about the future? Do you feel, is it like, I don't know, optimistic, pessimistic, kind of somewhere between the two?
Generally speaking, like I said, I'm in a full pessimist mode. So I think in a lot of ways, I can feel very pessimistic. But at the same
Mm-hmm.
time, like both of us, we have books which are coming out next year. And
Mm-hmm.
because of that, we haven't really, I don't think, had the chance to engage with what it is like to put out books which represent maybe not traditionally represented communities, and to
Mm-hmm.
like engage with the audience for that and to engage with people for that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think that something I'm looking forward to, something I am optimistic about, is I'm optimistic about engaging with people who get the chance to read what we write
Mm-hmm.
um and to kind of and to see the actual to see the work that we put out actually do what almost we put it out there to do in a way. And
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
that's something to be optimistic about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I agree with you on that. I think it's, even though it can be quite confronting with, what is sort of a lot of the things that are going on in the world at the moment, and um, this sort of the state of things, it can also be reassuring to know that even though things are challenging, we are making progress. And especially in, I feel like in literature, I know that, books is a small part of the world, but it is so nice to see like representation of own voices, authors, and stories for young readers, and for adults as well. But I mean, our um, sort of our area is writing for younger readers. It's really nice to know that these generations of kids and teens are coming up in a time when they can go to the library and look for a book where the characters sort of reflect their lived experience and go, oh, there's actually something here that I can read. And hopefully, I've got all my fingers and toes crossed that, we're going to be like, well, we're not the first, but, hopefully that they'll just be even more just, they'll be spoilt for choice instead of, books that are just about a really small kind of group of kids being able to see themselves reflected in the pages of their favorite books, and everybody else having to kind of relate to an experience that isn't theirs. It'd be so nice. It would have been so nice when I was growing up, and I'm sure it would have been really bloody nice when you were growing up to have something, a book series or an author who was, portraying your experience in a in a positive way, and in an exciting, fun way as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree 100%. Um,
Mm.
I did want to ask, I don't know if this is the last question or so. If you could receive like a response letter from your younger self, what do you hope that they would write back? What do you hope that your younger self would say in response to all of these things that you're telling them?
She would probably say, "Thank God," and "Are you sure?" I think she would be so relieved, because, being a teenager is always, I think being a teenager is just generally a pretty rough experience for most. Like, it's a time of incredible change. Your body is changing, your hormones are going wild. your social groups are changing, you're becoming an adult, you're gaining more responsibility, and to go through that and to feel isolated as you're changing and realizing, oh crap, like I'm actually quite different to the other kids. Oh, like maybe, I know I probably had that inkling probably, before I was a teenager, but certainly, adolescence, it's really heightened, I think, because all you want to do is fit in. And so I think that my
Yeah.
teen self would be just, I think my teen self would be so relieved and also probably so excited to just power through the crappy years and get to the good stuff. What about you? If you received a letter back from your future self, I mean, I know you've mentioned you would love to have some reassurance from your future self. If you wrote to your past self, I know that obviously you wrote to your future self, but if you wrote to your past self, what do you think your past self would have to say to you?
I think my past self would immediately be like, I don't believe you. Whatever you're telling me, it's good stuff's gonna happen. Ah, lies. Don't believe. This is nonsense. But I think it is almost like that cycle of reassurance, right? That you kind of touched upon in that you kind of reassuring your past self. I am seeking reassurance from my future self. But I feel like if I was writing to my younger self, it would almost be that cycle of reassurance again, that of trying to reassure reassure the person that is everything's going to be fine in a way. I think that's the difficult thing about being a teenager, as you said. It's everything is so heightened and everything feels so important and feels like, oh, this is the most important thing. This is the most important moment of my life. And all the decisions I make here are going to shape me for that, are going to be like the most important thing. And I think the thing you always want to do is try and relieve that pressure and try and make people give people something to look forward to in a way. So yeah, that's kind of what I would, if I was interacting with my past self. I think that's what I would want to do. Give them something to look forward to and try and relieve that pressure that comes with being a teenager.
Oh
It's too much,
gosh.
like you said, too many
The
hormones.
intense days. Yeah, that's it. The intense days of being a
Yes.
teenager. Whew. Oh gosh, good times. Well, yeah, I like the way you phrase that cycle of reassurance. It's a really nice way of putting it.
Alice, it was really good to talk to you about your letter, and to read your
Yeah,
letter. I think that is really great. Yeah,
thanks,
thank you.
Alex. I thank you for writing yours. It was really beautiful. It was an honor to read it. Yeah, great.
Thanks.